Carlos will be joining us momentarily with his weekly segment. Remember last week how furious you were when we were talking with him about the trees? You were like all worked up.
You're not going to get me to go there again.
No,
good,
but
thank God.
Our next guest is as worked up right now as you were last week. Our friend from the Better Contractors Bureau, Carm Santora, is with us. And during the break, it was just, I got to fade that music. It's driving me crazy. Carm's all worked up over, it's that one right there. Fade it down. Good job. Where did Alex go? She ran out.
I don't know.
It's Jeff Haley,
We
our
got a new
executive
regime
producer.
here now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, God. What are you all worked up about? I can see the vein in your forehead.
Wow.
First of all, welcome back. Always great to see you.
It's nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
It's usually the time of the year, which has happened. There's about 22 contractors that we know are up from South Carolina, and they're ripping off everybody that you could think of, mostly the driveway and roofing scams, driving by your house, and they're always attacking the old senior citizen people.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an unfortunate case this last week that we tried to get across to some of the radio stations, and they're helping us out. But mainly it's the same old story. We've been pushing registration for probably 15 years, and every time we get close to it, somebody just knocks us down. And a perfect example is this last week that we mentioned. We had a senior who was painting his fence on the outside of his house, and a truck came by, and the driver got out, and naturally he says, I got some leftover driveway sealer, and the guy says, fine, go to work on it. Charged him $2,700 to nail down 2 shingles of his roof and patch 2 sections of his driveway and seal it with the spray water seal. We sent an inspector out, and he came back and said, without knowing what the price was, he said, I probably would have charged the guy $450 and made a really good price on it.
And he charged 6 times that amount.
Yeah, $2,700. So it's a perfect reason for registration, because the main reason is we can't get a hold of this individual. Called the Attorney General's office, reported him. They only can do so much. They're always short-staffed. They usually wait for a pattern to happen, as Carlos will tell you.
Oh.
If they don't get 5 or 6 complaints in a row, the one person who got ripped off, you might as well just forget
Falls
about
through the
it.
cracks.
Yeah.
So it's,
Literally.
Yeah.
You got 47, 48 states with licensing or registration, and here they're licensing hairdressers. It's like, why aren't you licensing?
So
a
it's
contract?
politics getting in the way.
Oh, most definite.
Why?
Well,
I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I know there's 3 sides to every argument.
Yep.
You know, your side, their side, in the
Because
in the middle
if
somewhere.
you get
but
the one party who's the minority making the recommendation to pass the registration law, the majority party is not going to make you look like a hero.
so it's more than politics; it's partisan politics.
And if it was bipartisan to protect their constituents, instead of a handful of somebody making their pockets the right way, I don't know.
But Carmen, it hasn't always been one majority over the other. You know, there's been times where I guess the Republicans haven't been in the majority. What has been the difficulty over the many years you've been trying to get this passed?
Well, the majority is, you know, I don't want to get too much into politics.
No, we won't, and we won't.
But
Because
right now, the party that's in control has been in control for quite some time. And you know, maybe you don't want to blame it on one particular party, but when you face them with the various reasons, come up with an answer, and their only answer is that there's too much regulation right now of small business people in New York State. Well, that's all well and good, but when a registration would cost $100 a year, and the majority of the honest contractors want these so-called scam artists out of here, who's objecting to it? It doesn't make sense. Somebody is pulling the strings behind the scene, causing the problem, and we just can't get to them.
you know how this will change, Pat. One of these majority lawmakers falls for one of these fly-by-night organizations.
Definitely.
That's what would happen.
You
You're right.
get a grandmother or a mother or somebody sooner or later, but for us to wait for that, it's kind of tough.
Carm, you mentioned a few minutes ago an interesting stat I'd like to understand a little better. There's about 22 of the guys come up here now from South Carolina.
Yeah, they average about 20 to 25 every year.
Okay.
The ones we have the most problem with is the ones that come from Canada, because it's hard enough.
Canada again.
Oh, really? Here we go. We're stabbing them today.
Well,
Pretty good.
they're leaving to go out of the country, so it's hard enough trying to get somebody within our country.
Sure.
I hadn't heard that from Canada.
Registration is a very lenient law, because most states have licensing, which includes testing, over $3,000 in costs, that type of thing. Registration is a way of us finding out by Social Security number, driver's license.
Yeah.
Something.
We tell people constantly, don't use an out-of-state contractor. But, the people go with the scam artists, and as they only have themselves to blame. Some of the legislation, people say, well, who's going to police it? Well, the honest contractors would definitely police
They police each other.
each other.
Yeah.
They help each other out.